Hi, I'm Steffi Evans. Welcome to my channel. Today is a slow flow yoga class that is perfect for anyone who cannot do spinal flexion. That is a rounding forward or a bending of the spine, such as a sit-up or a forward fold in yoga. This could be anyone with osteoporosis, osteopenia, or a spinal injury of some sort. Please listen to the advice of your doctor. This is not a replacement for medical advice. So before we get started, I'm going to show you what I have available to me. And I highly, highly recommend that if you are doing yoga and cannot do spinal flexion, that you get 2 thick cork blocks. I will put a link to something in Amazon so that you can purchase these. This is to bring the ground higher up to you so that you don't have to flex your spine and bend forward to reach the floor. This is an essential item. If you have foam blocks, that will work, but I'd rather you have the stability of the thick cork blocks. You can always try this video without, but please listen to your body and make sure that there's no pain involved in your movement. So we are going to start in child's pose. Turn to the short side of your mat. Child's pose is spinal flexion, but we are going to modify it to make it work for you. So I want you to get your knees as wide as you possibly can and bring your hands forward onto the floor. You can see that my spine is nice and straight. If you had a tail, imagine you're sticking your tail out. From that point, if you can walk further down without rounding, go there, stopping where you need. One more option is to come down to your elbows. So we're just spending a moment breathing and opening up the hips before we get moving. The yoga breath, to remind you, is an in through the nose and out through the nose. Breathe deeply into your belly. That's a diaphragmatic breath. And full exhale. One more big inhale. And exhale every bit of air out of your lungs. Walk yourself back up. Come onto all fours, really spreading your fingers just to take some pressure off your wrists. Extend your right leg back with your toes tucked. The back knee is straight. Your opposite arm reaches forward. In this position, really gather the abs up and in. You should feel some abdominal work. To take this further, lift your leg off the floor, finding a full spinal balance. We'll hold for 3 breaths. This one is so good for developing core strength when you cannot do sit-ups. Lower your hand and knee. Other side, start with the toes tucked. You can get a good stretch in that back calf. Opposite arm reaches forward. Find your hover if that's appropriate for you today. And just keep your head in line with your spine, looking straight down. One more big inhale. Stay for the exhale. And return the hand and knee to the floor. Tuck your toes. My feet are hip distance apart, maybe a little wider. We're moving into child's pose. Here, please keep your knees very, very bent. Lift your knees off the floor and bring your chest towards your thighs. I emphasize the bent knee position because if your knees straighten, you're more likely to round your spine. So generous bend at the knees so we get a full stretch in the spine itself. Deep breaths. One more full inhale. Stay for the exhale. And lower to your knees. Very good. This is where I'll suggest using the blocks. Take your blocks and bring them at the highest level at the front of your mat. We've brought the floor up to us. Step your right foot through for a low lunge. The back foot can be tucked under or flat. That's your call, yogi's choice. Your knee is directly on top of your ankle and not out in front. So we're holding this position and feeling a stretch in the front of your left hip. You may also feel your hamstring. Just breathe into your stretch. We'll transition, take the back foot and turn it so now it's parallel to the short edge of the mat. We'll rise up in a side lunge. This is a kneeling warrior 2. Your foot is in line with your knee, and we'll have to walk the foot out just slightly to make this work. Bend your front knee, extend your arms. Encourage that knee to really open towards the wall behind you. Gaze is past your front fingers. Excellent. Really drop your shoulders away from your ears. Straighten that front knee. Turn your foot now to face the front. So the foot is parallel to the short edge of the mat. You have your block here for you if you need it. I'll show. Hinge forward at the waist with a flat back. Your hands can come to the floor. Or if that rounds your spine, bring the floor up to you. That's how that works. We're looking for a stretch in that right inner thigh. Good. We'll transition back to where we originally were into our lunge. Lift the back knee, so now you're in a runner's lunge. Back knee is pushing up towards the ceiling. Really push down through that front foot to make that right glute work, and rise up into a standing position. If your balance is off, walk your feet wider so you're more on railroad tracks and not a tightrope. Extend those arms overhead. And breathe. This is a small back bend. If that's too much for you, just hinge your torso forward slightly. Feeling some strength in that front leg. And we'll open it up towards the long edge of the mat for our standing warrior 2. My right foot is pointing straight out. My left foot is turned in, internal rotation. Bend the front knee, and there is your warrior 2. Warrior 2 is a little bit of a twist through the spine. Make sure your abdominals are really toned, they're drawn in. Belly button is slightly pulling towards the spine. Stay for one more breath, finding some depth in that front knee. Straighten your front knee and turn all 10 toes to face the long edge of your mat. Turn your toes in so the knees are slightly internally rotated. This would also be a good place to utilize your block at the front of your mat. Hinge forward with a flat back. You can rest your hands on the block. At any level that works for you, spine is nice and straight. Grow longer from the top of your head through your tail. And we'll just soften, bend those knees slightly, bring your hands to your hips, and rise all the way back up. We're going to unwind out of this one, so turn the right foot forward, coming back into your lunge. Lower your knee and come back to all fours with your hands on the floor. Tuck your toes, lift your knees, downward facing dog. Hands are gripping the floor like a starfish. This time, pedal out your feet, drop your right heel towards the floor as you bend your left knee. And switch it out. Pedal that left heel down. Rise up onto your tiptoes and sink both heels, getting a nice stretch in the backs of your legs. Lower your knees, come back into table. You can stay as you are, but this is where I'll flip around so that I am not facing away from you. Bring your hands to your blocks. Step your left foot forward into your low lunge. And just note that I'm forward of my kneecap and not right on top of it. Stay for a couple deep breaths, feeling a stretch in that right hip flexor. Take that back leg, spin it parallel to the short edge of your mat. Here's our kneeling warrior two. Okay, you may have to shimmy that right foot or that left foot out just a little bit further to have the knee to ankle alignment. Gaze is past the front fingertips. Building your strength, stay for one more breath. Straighten your front knee, turn your foot to face directly forward and hinge forward. And again, this is a great place to use your block. It is okay to sit back towards your heel slightly, as long as you're feeling a good inner thigh stretch here on the left. All right, help yourself back up, spin that foot forward again, and we're just going to transition back into our low lunge using the blocks. Lift your back knee. I'm going to walk my stance a little wider so my balance is better. Rise up, high crescent. Extend the arms. Let's take 2 deep breaths here. Relaxing your shoulders away from your ears. Good. Open it up into your standing warrior two, looking for that heel to heel alignment. Right there. So sometimes we tend to be leaned forward. Move your torso right in the center of your legs so you're perpendicular to the floor. The spine is the most straight and upright. The straight leg gets a little internal rotation. Go ahead and straighten that front knee. One more time, turn your toes in, so I'm slightly pigeon-toed. Really great place to use the block. You pick your level. Hinge forward, flat back. We'll add some movement this time. Bend one knee and bend the other. If you feel better turning your toes slightly outward, that's okay. That works too. Take it one more time to each side. And we're just going to find our lunge, lower the back knee, and come to all fours. You can move your blocks out of the way. Just like we did before in the child's pose, widen your knees as much as you can. They may come off the mat. Reach your arms forward, keeping that spine nice and straight. And only if it feels right for your back, you can melt all the way down, bringing your chest to the floor and your forehead to the mat. Reach your fingertips away from your back pockets. Use your hands to walk yourself all the way back up. And we're coming down into our backs, so you can lie down on your side first and then roll over onto your back, setting up for your bridge pose. Feet are hip distance apart. Fingertips are reaching towards your feet. I can actually touch my ankles. I have long arms. Here we go. Lift your hips. Your spine lifts all as one piece. Push down through your feet and lift the hips. Building some strength in the back body, in the glutes and lower back. Firmly press down through the arms. Lower your hips, bring the soles of your feet together, and open your knees. This is reclined butterfly Baddha Konasana. Give your body a moment of rest. We have one more bridge. Bring your knees back up to face the ceiling. Press down through your arms, lift your hips. Think of pushing your shoulders down and puffing your chest up. Lower your hips. Baddha Konasana one more time. Actively press your feet together and encourage those knees to open more. Bring your knees back together, straighten your legs, and reach your arms overhead. Give yourself a nice big stretch to conclude your class. When you're ready, roll over onto your favorite side and use your arms to help yourself back up to sitting. Thank you so much for working out with me today. Please like the video. It really helps the algorithm. And of course, subscribe to the channel so that you can see immediately when new videos are released. Thanks so much.